Welcome everybody back to the UPC subscriber channel. This week we're going to be covering a little bit of a double dose. We're going to get week 3 and week 4 together. Going to cover all of the matches that we've had in both weeks 3 and 4 of our UPC singles season. Still trying to figure out the Galler decks and how competitive play has been. There's been a lot of changes, of course, with the banning of Dynamax coming about and certain things being condemned here recently. In just the last couple of days, we've had Galarian Darmanitan be banned to Ubers. It's no longer an OU Pokemon, but as far as our league change has been pretty much nil. We've got all of the same teams, all of the same rosters. Everything's going to be very much so the same content being brought to you all. So we just kind of want to go over a little bit of it with you guys. We've got 8 great games lined up for, of course, for week 3, for week 4, and some really tight matchups, a lot of great games, and then a lot of landslides just based off of some cool tech. So Dean and I, say hello, Dean.
Hello.
Of course, excited to bring all of this to you guys. So we're gonna dive right into it. We're gonna cover everything fairly quickly here, and let you know a little bit of what's going on with some insider detail, some commentary. So who we have first here, Dean?
Our first match is between that guy Revarb, which is Mark, who's the coach of the Tennessee Smokescreens, versus Hurley, who is the San Francisco 49 Tails. And looking at the two teams here, we've got a lot of new stuff coming in this week as opposed to the last couple weeks.
Definitely surprised to see the Thievul on Mark's side of the field. Of course, this is post-commentary, so I know that there's a lot of cool things on Mark's team, and there's also some interesting decisions made on Hurley's side as well. Really looking forward to breaking this down with you guys because the tech is key to this entire matchup.
Without further ado, we'll just get started on.
The leads are great, right? That first lead there with Indeedee female coming out against Bisharp, a very prominent dark-type Pokemon. You get the Mystical Fire dropping and also raising the Bisharp because of the Defiantability. Mystical Fire is just a great, cool move that everything has gotten added to the repertoire for this season with Galar decks, including that in so many Pokemon. Thievul coming in immediately afterwards, dodging the Fire Blast, which is fancy. Mm-hmm. Okay, that Psychic Terrain is not at evasion, but it definitely helped with that Sucker Punch to begin with. And now we're seeing a nasty block from the Thievul as it just tries to begin the sweep with this setup move and a stab Dark Pulse at 2x special attack onto the Bronco.
Even a quarter of the Graplock's health, and then the Psychic finishing it off that turn.
The move pool for this Thievul is so key. You just did 55% damage to a Toxapex with Mud Shot, for Lord's sake. Oh my goodness. Praise Arceus for this move pool.
If only his stats were better.
You know, I think with this and the ability that it has, it's going to make up the difference entirely. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. It took a Thunderbolt from special Dragapult, or Dragapult, as I like to say. Watched out for that Sucker Punch and went for another nasty block. Correct Protect from the Bisharp coming out there. And then we see another nasty plot as Hurley ends the Thievul run. And kills off with a...
Yeah, the mind games only work so much on those kind of plays.
Trying to play around Sucker Punch is so difficult. Fortunately, where Thievul left off, Durant can come in and take the knee. We see a Stomping Tantrum getting super effective damage on the Toxapex. Unfortunately, Durant receives the Scald. I think 35 there is the nickname, is a nice little key to Kevin Durant, the professional Pokemon.
I'm pretty sure every week that he's brought Durant, he's aimed at Kevin or some variation of that.
It's such a cool nickname move because of the coincidence. But indeed, he's coming back and trying to set up in the face of Bisharp, which cannot hit that stab Sucker Punch in the face of Psychic Terrain. Because it's Life Orb and the Air Slash doing almost nothing to a Calm Mind's Indeedee, there's nothing Bisharp can do. Indeedee just cleans up with a Psychic stab into the super effective damage on Toxapex. So that's it for our first battle there. Thievul did so well, and then Alice, the Indeedee, comes in and just cleans up the rest.
Our second match is Nathan, who is the Miami Dolphins coach, versus Trey, who is the Houston Rockets.
Gary was here is Nathan, of course, and then Saber Shogun is Trey at the top of the screen.
And then this week we're getting the showing of the male Ndidi too on Nate's team.
Getting gender neutral, gender equality here between the Pokemon variants. Both are extremely deadly in their own respects. We'll see a little bit of how this Ndidi male plays out against a very offensive team that Trey has brought with Dracovish, Toxtricity, Ribombee, super fast Ribombee, by the way. I think there's only like 5 Pokemon in the entire Pokemon decks that are faster than it, so it's extremely viable this time around. Rotom Wash, Charizard, and Avalok, the Extreme Wall versus Dottler, a very interesting pick. Morpeko, also in the same note, a very interesting offensive pick. Ferrothorn, good old reliable. Ndidi male, which we will see, of course. Mandibuzz as the wall, and then Arcanine is kind of, all trades. It can do a little bit of everything. So let's see what kind of roles each of these Pokemon on both teams fill in.
All right, let's get this one going. We have a Ferrothorn versus Dracovish.
Oh, I know Ferrothorn's thick, but Dracovish is still not hard enough hitting, even with that vicious rend, to be able to take out Ferrothorn. Leech Seed was just a great play because of the Protect stall to try to get a little bit of that back and cause some Iron Barbs damage onto the Dracovish. Now that we see Deja Vu, the Rapid Spinning, Lug, Will-O-Wisp comes out to connect on the Kenmore Washer there, Rotom, but Arcanine is scared out. Ferrothorn doesn't care about Thunder Wave, does it, Dean? I think that's a fair play. And good switch in.
Yeah.
Especially the team relies a whole lot on that Thunder Wave and dropping the speed to make sure that his hard hitters that are mid-speed tier can definitely come in and do damage. You'll have to excuse the vulgarity of Nathan's team names because they're very much intended, but very much passive as well. You got to understand these Pokemon. Cover on the Avalok, just ensuring that he's going to be a mainstay, that wall, that glacier is not going anywhere anytime soon. Despite global warming from that Arcanine, there's nothing that's going to melt this thing away very easily. It just took 2 Flare Blitz.
It's ridiculous how bulky defensive-wise this guy is. It's around a base 200 defense stat?
It's got to be up there. So he concedes and knows that Arcanine, even with its stab, Flare Blitz cannot take it down through the defensive stat and switches out to Dottler to get the sticky webs up. And back in comes Arcanine, which can take that Fire Blast with ease, even from a very hard-hitting Charizard. Trey got a little lucky with the Hurricane Connect, and that leads into the Ndidi switch in.
That Ndidi hit hard.
Sure did. That Psychic Terrain boosts that offensive Ndidi set so well. 1000 IQ there, switching into the electric type Pokemon on the Thunder Wave, and then RO still coming out to connect onto the Rotom just to clean it up as the Hunger Switch ability procs once again.
Of course, Parting Shot has been a staple for Nate's team for the last, 2-3 seasons, seems like?
At least. It's such a great utility move to make sure that you can ensure momentum switching into another Pokemon, just kind of crippling what the opponent has out on the field at the time.
See the Dottler trying to set up with some Calm Minds here. Still not really that much that's going to help it survive against the Charizard doing as much. And the Dragon Tail as a nice tech was good there.
Only a good bring there on Trey's part when a Dottler, a second evolution Pokemon that's weak to fire, takes it and only gets 50% damage. That's incredible in itself. So bringing Dragon Tail was a must there for Trey to be able to swap out and get an advantage sort of play with field position. Overcoat is a nice ability there to resist that Stun Spore that Trey has been bringing pretty much every week to try to ensure those paralysis. And then Bird just coming in and doing what it does, knocking off, being thick, taking hits, and dealing a little bit of damage out while crippling Pokemon by removing their items to knock off.
This has turned into a game of switching, and unlucky there on the Hurricane that time. But a crit on the Fire Blast.
Picks up the difference, doesn't it? And then Mandibuzz was switched in for this reason, goes down. We're back with the Ndidi female or male, and it's here to deal damage. Look at that! It did so much.
92%.
But that's a ton, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cleans out the in the Ribombee. And then here comes the dedicated wall to Choice Band or Choice Scarf Dracovic.
Charizard pretty much.
Charizard's up in the back. You have to make sure that you protect that Fairthorn. And unfortunately, Nathan does not switch out while the Fire Blast connects to take down the Fairthorn.
Crit Psychic.
I don't know if that could have lived anyways. That psychic terrain with the psychic
Yeah.
stab, with it's so strong. Toxtricity can't do anything in the face of this, and I do believe it is Choice Scarfed Indeedee, which is just genius as far as being able to boost its own moves on top of very strong special attack stab.
Yeah.
Regardless,
I mean,
without a psychic immunity, Trey's team was just very, very weak to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I mean, at that point, like you were saying with the Scarf, I mean, the Psychic Terrain is going to give you the attack boost you need with it, especially if you're just sweeping with Psychic. So I mean, there's no need for really any other item other than that Scarf.
the Scarf on the Indeedee ensured the win, I believe, for Nathan, because that was just such a weakness on Trey's part, and then especially with the 6 that he brought. It was just kind of an overbearing strength on Nathan's end of the field to be able to kind of clean up the team there towards the end and deal out a lot of damage throughout.
Oh, here's a fun one.
This is such a great game. Oh my gosh, how do we keep ending up with things like this? I just keep looking at the matchups I have and thinking, what do I do? And unfortunately, me, Elite Four Wheel at the bottom, had to face off against you, Dean, at CO27 at the top with the Dodge City Dugtrios versus the Mighty Ducklets.
Yeah.
With this layout at the beginning there, with the lead off.
Like my first thought, because of one of the strategies I had planned, when I didn't see the Dusclops on the team, my first thought was, there's nothing that can stop this.
This is going to be kept in your back pocket until the perfect time. I can't wait for everyone to see this because the tech is excellent. I'm not going to say who comes out on this game yet, but the tech is very good. I think both sides definitely tried to prepare for this game. I definitely was hitting it, trying to figure out what I should do against a very versatile and kind of obscure team that you have. But looking at this 6, I think my cautions in trying to expect an obscure team were met. I just didn't have the right preparation for this. So busting into this with the lead off Pokemon, still getting a little bit of lag, so please just take over and talk a little bit.
Okay.
Please.
Now, looking at the teams here and my thought building this team, I knew I had to bring Trick Room. So most of my team pretty much was built around Trick Room, minus a couple things. Obviously, Barracuda does not work very well. The Power Whip, I had to bring this week. This is actually a very interesting mixed Goodra with Eject Pack for Draco Meteor. I didn't get to show it off, of course, but he did what he needed to do.
Just like the Toxic Stall on the Quagsire was able to come in and do exactly what it was designed to do.
Mm. And this particular Runerigus was built max HP, max special defense, because I knew there was going to be a lot of special threats on your team. And as we saw, it just took a snipe shot from the Inteleon. I don't know what your necessary spread on it was, but that's still something considering it's a super effective move. Of course, the switch in on the body slam from the double Runerigus was a good call.
Runerigus was just such a great wall on this team, so being used as a Trick Room setter was essential to you being able to execute your game plan.
Yeah, for sure. This is what, the third time that Trick Room has been set up?
Trick Room is very much so a viable strategy with this generation. In the past, it's not been so great, but I think that Trick Room, with the slow Pokemon we have here, with access to room service that we have, that so much can be done under Trick Room that these thicker, slower Pokemon can do that traditionally has not been a big threat in the past.
I got lucky on the volt switch read with the T-Tar a couple turns ago, but this is where the fun starts on this one.
Is. Yeah, the tech as advertised was excellent, and starting up here is where we'll see the beginning of the end.
This greeting, yeah. Props to Mark for sending me the video not long before I was building my team for this set.
I love the appreciation you show there towards Mark. Mark is, of course, the coach of the Tennessee Smokescreens. That guy Reverb, we saw him just a moment ago. He produces some very cool tech sometimes, and this was definitely one of those sets that I'm glad he was able to share with you because it came in so clutch against this particular team.
I'd say, I thought about this after this match was played. This is probably the biggest gap in Mons left in a match between me and you that I've ever seen.
This usually comes down to the wire, but I don't know. I'm not going to make any excuses here. I don't think I'm comfortable with this setup, but you played so well, and this team fit you so well this particular week that I don't think even with me being prepared, there was anything I could do for it. But I don't know. This is definitely a match I'd like to have a rematch with you on. Maybe down the road if we meet in the playoffs. This would be a cool one to see run back a little bit. But your team was excellent, and you did such a good job playing it, bringing it, prepping it, the whole kit caboodle. You deserve that differential for sure.
Appreciate that.
This game in particular is going to be the highlight of the week, I think. This was a very, very close game, very well played on both sides. The lead matchups just show overbearing offense with a good amount of support as well, and maybe some tankiness there. We see Sandaconda, we see Grimmsnarl with maybe some reflect light screen setup. Just overall bulk on most of those Pokemon there in their own respects, and then Mantine on Thomas's end at the bottom. Same thing there, a lot of bulk on that team in its own respect. But we're going to see a lot between necessarily Grimmsnarl, Sandaconda, and Mantine in this match. What do you think about the leads here, Dean? What do you think about those first Pokemon in the field?
Let's see. I don't remember the actual leads, but
let's jump right into it.
Let's just jump. Let's go. We got Mantine versus Hydreigon.
Yes, sir.
Not the most favorable matchup, but I mean, Mantine does have good special bulk.
The Tailwind setup has never been freer, and then we go back into the Hydreigon, which resisted the electric volt switch. Good momentum on Thomas's side, but Tailwind running out as it takes a massive Draco Meteor from Hydreigon.
Covering all that health back. Can't stay in against that Manectric. Cannot stay in against that Manectric.
Man weakness. Oh, no, of course not. That's why I think having the dichotomy of Manectric and Jolteon with the Volt Absorb is so essential to the core of this team defensively. There it is again.
Yeah.
Definitely eating it up. Now, that kind of damage is not great. 42% is definitely more than I expected, especially not from a non-specs Jolteon.
Mm-hmm.
But that Shadow Ball is going to come into effect later as the overheat from the Life Orb Manectric is so big. Unfortunately, that special attack drop forces the Manectric back out as Hydreigon again against the Mantine. It's the same old song and dance, guys. We're going to be dancing around with Hydreigon versus Mantine for a while as Manectric just can't seem to land a hit. Even playing the prediction game, having trouble here. Had to go for the Thunderbolt, gets the Fortunate Para. Citrus Berry procs, and Chandler is right back up as it cannot take 2 hits from the Life Orb Manectric. So strong there.
Keeps getting those special defense drops.
Special defense drop. That's incredible. The luck there from that Shadow Ball and the Jolteon is really keeping Thomas in the game here, keeping from Pokemon like Hydreigon just from coming in and starting to land hits and try to break through Pokemon like Mantine, which has hit the field once again.
Swapping
this trick is huge.
Yeah.
Taking a bulk Pokemon with recovery moves like Recover and Tailwind and just debilitating it, handicapping it to where it can only click one move at a time, hopefully to become offensive in some way or stall in one way and making it one-dimensional instead of multi-dimensional. Pokemon like Sandaconda can come in with almost no fear.
Yeah. Espeon still didn't appreciate that.
No, the choice specs has kind of come back to bite Espeon just a little bit, as it takes a KO there, as Mantine is able to do exactly what it came in to do. Dragon Dance on the Gyarados is nice.
Yeah.
That was a great predict, leading to the KO for Jolteon. Manic Trick now has nothing really stopping it except for the Excadrill, which has been safely kept in the back. Freeze Dry was huge, proccing the Focus Sash there as Moxie gets another boost, and Gyarados may or may not be able to take this out. Uh-oh.
See the sash coming off the Excadrill. Probably what saved. So that's probably what saved that right there.
Excellent move choice. Thomas didn't want to stay in there against the Hydreigon because it's pretty well found out. I think that Hydreigon's scarfed at this point.
Locked into Roost now. I mean, he recovered all of his health all the way back, but it's still hard to.
It knows its time has come.
Yeah.
And it also knows that Excadrill can only be hit by the overheat on this set. And Life Orb taken away. Hard to play that predict game. Manic Trick's getting walled hard here.
It's taken out right at the end.
Overheat miss was unfortunate, I'm not going to lie. But it only had so much time left on the field that Hunter was going to have to be creative in order to compete in this game any further with the 3 Pokemon Thomas has left.
Point. I mean, Excadrill's done what he's there for. He's easy to sack off to that superpower.
I think Hunter was hoping to catch the Obstagoon with that.
Yeah.
Thank God Sandaconda has that Key Berry. That's going to make sure it can live another hit here, unless the Mantine comes back in, because that Body Press will do nothing, as you can see. Very difficult game to be switching around like this. Grimmsnarl has a big load on its back as it's supposed to try to KO these last 2 Pokemon. Darkness Lariat only doing 40%. Now the Mantine is Choice Scarf or Choice Specs locked, of course. So Darkness Lariat for Grimmsnarl is going to do what it's supposed to do.
Just keeps trying to get the reads on these, and it's hard to make some of these calls.
Such a guessing game, especially when there's such thick Pokemon left like the Mantine and the Obstagoon on Thomas's side. Forcing the struggle is going to be huge there for Hunter.
Forcing the switch into Obstagoon, and between the Darkest Lariat and Sucker Punch just finishing him off.
I think that was advantageous for Hunter with all the switching, is that Obstagoon with its burn damage was finally ticked low enough to where a Sucker Punch, even though resisted from the Obstagoon, was able to take it out. Grimmsnarl was massively hitting with those, regardless of the fact that it was resisted or not. And Hydreigon comes in to hit the Dark Pulse and win the game. Very hard fought, very great game. Obviously went to 52 turns, a lot of switching around. But, I think there were not so many crazy things to happen in that game other than just trying to read each other's minds, which any experienced Pokemon player knows that's the most difficult element of the game, is trying to predict what your opponent will do. And for both these players to have predicted accurately so many times, regardless of who won and who lost that match, is definitely an admirable feature of this particular matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like a game of chess, but you don't ever see it played hardly this well as far as the switching goes. I mean, a lot of even in the pros, you don't see some of the switches made correctly, and you see over prediction. I mean, that's a very hard thing to learn and to pick up on.
I think if I can accurately quote the champ, Wolf says that it's a combination between chess and poker. You have to have your poker face on, you have to pull bluffs, you have to have the right cards in your hand, you have to have the winning hand overall, but you have to play it like you have the winning hand. And predictions or counter moves or anything along these lines, it's so difficult to get right. So to see this game come down to the wire, and for just a couple of key plays based on predictions to be made accurately for Hunter to get this win, I think it was well deserved and great match overall for both sides. Neither competitor should hang their head after that one. That was a great game.
Oh, great match.
Wanted to end off the week. Really excited with how everything turned out there. I think we still have some undefeated players. Russell, of course, had the bye week in week 3. He is 3-0 considering the bye win. And Hunter coming out with 3-0. He's got such a strong team with the close game to Thomas, who's been playing well all season, of course, so far, that this was a quality win for him to maintain that win streak. I definitely thank everybody for tuning in and watching this this recap video. Covered a lot of stuff here. This was some great information, some great games, a lot of cool tech as everything with this competitive meta is developing for singles. Can't wait for you guys to tune back in next week and see the extended amount of spice that will be coming in. Also, with the current standings with the league, we're seeing teams like Hunter and Russell on top, and that is something that is very refreshing. This whole reshifting and shuffling of the sands beneath the meta has allowed for certain players to really find their niche and do well at this early point in the season. Thanks so much, guys, for checking us out. Dean, you got anything for the send-off here?
No, just appreciate everybody that's tuned in so far. I'd like to point out one kind of big milestone. We've broke 200 views on our draft breakdown video.
Great. Yeah, definitely love the love there coming in with people checking out our material. Of course, this is an interactive deal. Make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. We'd love to hear from you all. Anybody that wants to interact with our league, you can find us on our website at ultimatepokemonchampionship.com. That's a Weebly page dedicated directly to this draft league. You can also get our email information there. I think it's ultimatepokemonchampion@gmail.com, if that's correct, Dean.
Yeah.
Feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Dean and I are both very active with the site, and anybody that would email us, we would love to reach out to you guys. This would be a great opportunity. We'd love to hear from you and interact. So please leave a comment.
All right, and we will catch you guys in the next video.
Hasta luego.